We got 8 minutes and 20 seconds.
Okay.
Before we got to push the button again. All right, so first off, tell me who you are and what you do, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, I'm Brian Repligal. I've lived here in San Carlos for 4.5 years. Came from Tucson, had enough of teaching. Do some water sports out here with kayak rentals, have a couple charter boats, and I work with Remax First Choice, trying to sell some real estate.
And Brian, tell me about Miss Moby then all those years ago. It was 2003. Tell me how you happened upon the whale, and how badly entangled that whale was.
We just saw the whale, this large object in the water. Thought it was a boat or something, I don't know. But there was another boat circling around it, came up on the whale, and saw that it was 2 whales eventually. The baby, I don't remember was how entangled. The mother was completely entangled head to toe, wrapped several times around the mouth. The net was wrapped multiple times around the tail, and its whole net was all across its body.
And what did you guys do?
We came up. Eventually, we realized that we were the only boat that was really going to stick around, and the only boat that had a chance of saving the whale. We tried calling in divers. We had divers coming in, but they weren't coming out fast, so we started to cut away at the whale. First, we cut away the baby, which had been dead for about a week at least. Later reports, it sounds like the whale had been trapped for 2 weeks. Some ponga fishermen, I believe, off the coast, they were drift netting for small schools of baby Dorado, and the whales got trapped in the nets. I don't know how much they tried to save the whales. We cut the baby off, and then the mother, we cut the body of the net away all the way from the head to tail, had a big loop, pulling the whole whale next to the boat eventually. First off, I swam out to the whale twice. The second time with my buddy, jumped on the back of the whale and cut away the net from on the back until I eventually cut myself and knew that great whites are attracted to dead whales, so I gave up on that and we started working from the boat.
Was it dangerous? It must have been kind of difficult and a little bit dangerous to be on the back of a whale. That whale was still pretty alive, was she not? Was she thrashing around?
Well, it was very alive and powerful. We cut away on the back next to the boat. Eventually we got down to the tail, which was pulling the whole boat back and forth. And, you know, we could have got trapped up in the net and pulled overboard. It was very dangerous. Could have got wrapped in the outdrives and maybe sunk our boat. It was bigger than our boat.
How long did it take you? How much time did you guys spend with the whale and the...
About 7 hours. We spent about 7 hours, and after the last diving mishap, we tried for another 20 minutes, tried towing the whale in, but it was not going to work.
I understand that other divers did eventually get out there, and one diver almost was injured. Do you remember any of that?
Oh, he nearly lost his life. He jumped in. He got to us about 7 o'clock, right as the sun was setting, so it was a little dark. He got in there and started cutting away at the net, right at the mouth of the whale. Supposedly his knife slipped and hit the tongue, and the whale started spinning. It trapped his leg in the net, and he said he tried to amputate his leg, cutting away the net. And I saw him go over 2-3 times underwater, do full spins around the whale. I thought he was dead.
Did he have a scuba tank?
At that time, he just was free diving, so he did not have a tank.
Okay. How did you feel? What did it feel like to see that scenario?
Oh, it was very emotional. Jumping up on the whale, I could say I rode a whale. You could hear the whale crying. He said he was underwater and could just hear it crying for, you know, it was very sad. It had been dragging its dead baby around for a week. It was very emotional. We tried so hard, you know, and then just eventually at the end having to let this whale go and not knowing if we'd find him the next day or not was very, very disheartening.
What do you think happened to that whale?
Fortunately, no one else, I didn't hear any other stories. That whale probably held on for another week, but eventually suffered a slow, painful death. And maybe it was drowned or just maybe eventually lost strength. It had been already trapped for 2 weeks, I believe.
So there was so much net still left on the whale when darkness came that you don't think that the amount of net that was left on that whale would have allowed it to be able to feed and survive?
I said my prayers, but tail was still wrapped up badly. It had a big belly of the net. It was hog-tied from head to tail, keeping it bent, and there was a heavy weight pulling the head down. It was amazing. It hung on for 2 weeks. They're strong creatures.
That's it. Anything else you'd like to mention? I think that does a very nice job. Yeah, just anything else you want to talk about, go ahead and...
All right.
What do you say?
All our wishes in San Carlos for the whole tourism community is out to Vince and everyone else in this battle against, you know, protecting our sea here and the conservation. You know, it's just not the economy right now, and you know, the forces that are in place in Mexico are not going to allow it just to be okay. No, there's too much strain on our resources. If we don't do something about it, it's going to be too late here.
Who do you think's ultimately responsible for cleaning up the Sea of Cortez and all these long lines, all the nets? Who's ultimately responsible for that?
Well, you know, the movement can start up from the people, but it's the individuals in charge and power that make the laws and enforce the laws that are going to ultimately make or break this whole situation. You know, the movement and the enforcement and the votes of the people can sway one way or another, but if you have people up in power that aren't doing anything about it, that are collecting the money even for it and not doing anything about it, then nothing's going to take place. You know, we can't have an uprising and you know, mob rule and all the individuals and boaters go out there in arms and try to take over the situation.
Are we talking about anarchy here?
I guess it happened once. It's happened before in countries, but you know, I don't know who's going to protect the Dorado that much. You know, and that's not our position to take up arms.
All right.
But they're.
Thank you very much. That's perfect. That's excellent.
Okay.